1 in 3 Americans, or almost 80 million people, have a criminal record, and 5.2 million of them are unable to vote because of felony. What does that, in your opinion, imply about the protection of the people's human rights? If my math is adding up, each of you knows someone, possibly several people, whose fundamental human rights to vote has been interfered with. I have been researching this topic for a long time, which has compelled me to think and evaluate the aspects of how prisoners, which being criminal offenders, are still the citizens of the country. The 3.2 million Americans who are incarcerated must be able to vote, regardless of the prior actions, if this country truly is the land of the free. First, I will talk about the laws pertaining to prisoners. Then I will go over the need for their equal treatment, followed by the issue of thorough inclusion and citizenship. Lastly, I will focus on the rule of the law, which states that everyone should be treated equally. First, I will give overview of laws pertaining to the right of the prisoners to vote. According to the publication of Soy, which was published in 2020 in the Human Rights, when it comes to allowing inmates to vote, several European nations have varying laws. 20 of the 47 member states have done away with all prohibition, regardless of the type of conviction. An article published in the United Kingdom and the European Human Rights in 2015, written by Ziegler, etc. 18 of remaining ones are subject to human restrictions. This indicates that only a select group of prisoners are prohibited from voting based on the nature of their crime or length of the sentences. In the remaining of 9 nations, convicted criminals are categorically prohibited from casting a ballot. But what differences does it make? One might ask. Take Texas, for example. Texas counts the prison's population at the address of the jail where they are now incarcerated, not at their home before incarceration, regardless whether the inmates themselves still live in their hometowns and tend to return after incarcerations. As a result, many local groups do not receive adequate representation during the redistricting process. Now that I have told you about the laws, let's take a look and if that is all there is to know about these human rights violations. My second point is to understand how disproportionate the human rights of the prisoners are practiced. Independent research have determined that racial violations in criminal offending rates cannot count for this discrepancy. According to 7 in the article, Handcuffing the Vote, published in 2020, they have explained that white Americans are 1.4 times more than Hispanic Americans to be incarcerated. Chen in American paper presence in 2020 has asserted that due to historically predetermined level of poverty and incarceration in specific area, Black and brown people are also disproportionately affected by the negative consequence of involvement with the criminal justice system. Today, entire communities deal with the negative consequence. Now that we have discussed, let us discuss why the prisoners need to be treated equally and be given a chance to vote for the prospects of social inclusion and citizen. My third point is related to social inclusion and citizenship. where the key argument is the support of preserving prisoners' voting rights is acknowledge their continued citizenship and social inclusion. In an article published in the American Political Science Review in 2019, Roma and Zins have asserted that inmates without the right to vote continue to live in a modern society that we have built upon the fundamental rules of democracy and equality, according to the article published in the Croatian Medical Journal in 2018, written by Tort Exactory. A sense of civic responsibility would be installed in the convicts through participation in democratic matters. It was safe to remind them that they are more than simple prisoners and that having citizenship responsibilities also have advantages. According to the United States study, there are observable non-observable variations in criminal histories between voters and non-voters. While we are aware that voting won't focus someone to follow the law, it can help them to beyond their own interest and feel like a part of society. Most importantly, but allowing inmates to vote could have social advantages. For example, psychologically and socially, having the ability to vote will make them feel more responsible and will make them see themselves as the law-abiding citizen members of the community. Now that we have discussed why it is such a big problem, what issue causes, and why it is crucial to find a solution, let's gather final thoughts. People around the world are incarcerated and must be able to vote regardless of their prior actions. First, we talk about the laws pertaining to prisoners. Then we want to go over the need for their equal treatment, followed by the issue of social inclusion, citizenship. Lastly, we focused on the rule of the law, which states that everyone should be treated equally. Now that we all know so much about why prisoners should be given the right to vote, I hope all of us to put it good use and help create awareness.